Harbor Freight is selling an absolute Swiss Army knife with their portable bandsaw benchtop stand that allows you to use it in the chop arrangement or stand it upright and use it like a traditional bandsaw. But it's not without its problems. Let's talk about some of the good things before we get to the bad. Starting with the good. This benchtop stand lets you use a large variety of portable bandsaws, whether you have Milwaukee, DeWalt, Bauer, even the Hercules, which is their premier line at Harbor Freight. It comes with all sorts of bracketry to make that happen. It makes it easily adjustable, so that way it's easy to fit. The base itself is pretty thick. It's 1/8" steel, it's nicely powder coated, it's solid. When you pick it up and wiggle it by the hinge, it's my table wiggling, not the bandsaw. It's solid. It's really quite good. The spring-loaded gas strut here makes it easy to use. Haha, easy, right. Makes it easy to stand up and be able to use it in the chopping configuration, as well as just be able to unhook it and stand the bandsaw up and use it in the traditional arrangement. In the vertical arrangement, it gives you a table that you can put into place. This one has a couple of screws right in here that can be undone to take the existing pad off to be able to put this guy into place. This slot accommodates a whole bunch of different manufacturers, as well as these two holes up here make it easy to put this onto whatever bandsaw that you have. So, all things considered, that's good. Now, if you're looking at getting a setup like this and you're gonna go buy everything in one shot, you need to know that it doesn't come with a blade for the bandsaw. Now, the Harbor Freight blades, if you've read on some of the Facebook groups or any online forum, the blades that Harbor Freight sell for these are absolute garbage. I've got a better one that's actually a very value-conscious buy. 3 blades, 20 bucks, and gets you pretty much any number of teeth arrangements to fit the kind of work that you're doing. Let's talk about some of the good and the bad. The good, you've got a pretty generous space here, so that way you can clamp material in and cut it, vertically. The bad news is that it doesn't come with any work holding options whatsoever. Harbor Freight sells their drill press clamp in the Pittsburgh variety. It works. I'll be honest, it works. It's not great, but this is kind of where I wish there was more options. I would like to see a clamp that holds it to the rip fence here, or a better variety of options for this. Now, I've got a new clamp on order from Amazon. It's delayed due to weather, so it hasn't got here yet. I'll put a link to that down in the description. That looks like it would be a better choice to clamp better than this guy. Now, this is 1/8" steel, but that doesn't mean you couldn't put so much force to this that you actually kind of deform the base plate a little bit. So you kind of have to be careful about how much force you're clamping onto that. That's kind of a drawback, but for everything that a normal hobbyist is likely to do, this is really quite good and sufficient. It's got a couple of horizontal or side-to-side runners underneath here that help add some rigidity to it. So I guess the risk of deformation is pretty low. The nice thing is that you're able to take the rip fence and turn it to any number of degrees, 60, 45, 30. Those are easily lined out. Just run it back, clamp it down. It does have a threaded boss here, so that way you could use something threaded to hold material here if you have that opportunity. All things considered, this is really quite good for the hobbyist. It's a really good Swiss Army knife. Now, let's talk about some more of the fiddly aspects of this, things that could be viewed as bad, but may not be so bad after all. Because of the very universal nature of this and the bracketry that goes along with it, it's not super rigid back here. You've got 2 basically big thumb wheels that you're able to adjust the tail of the portable bandsaw side to side. That means that there's a lot of adjustability and room for this to move. So it's something you're going to want to get yourself something to make sure the blade is square to the rip fence. I've got a 1-2-3 block that I made and a precision square. What you can easily do is put this against the rip fence, lift this up, and compare how in line it is, how square it is, how everything sets up. I spent a few minutes and got this thing pretty square. I used it, and it seems to be holding square moderately okay, but this is something I would keep an eye on over time, because this is just a couple of rubber pads holding the handle of the portable bandsaw. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of, and this is a safety thing on this, you do have the nice on-off switch that contacts the trigger on the portable bandsaw. It takes 2 motions to be able to turn it on. To turn it off, you're supposed to be able to just hit that switch and the spring of the trigger bounces it back. If something is bound up over here on its pivot point, or you have it too tight or something, this doesn't articulate the way it's supposed to. So you need to have it just tight enough to work, but not so tight that if you needed to bump it, it would turn off. So for the price point that everything is offered at, this represents an incredible value for the home hobbyist to be able to have a bandsaw that you can cut in the chopping direction and not have to have an additional saw like an abrasive saw, an evolution chop saw, or even heck, I've been using my wood saw with a diamond tip blade. Not ideal, but it does work in a pinch. It's loud, it's slow, it's awful, it leaves a lot of burr. But that's not the end of the world. So this does represent some incredible value for what it is and the ability to do a large number of things, so that way you can build the things you want to do. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's get out to the garage and go build something cool.